Okay guys, it's almost halfway through 2018 right now. Have you been keeping up with your record keeping for taxes for next year? I know I haven't. And last year I did not stay on top of it, so this year things are gonna change and it's not too late to get a system in place. So that's what I'm gonna talk about today, a really quick and easy way to stay on top of your record keeping. This isn't just for daycare providers, but I am a daycare provider, so that's what I'm mainly talking about, but this video is for any small business owner to keep on top of your taxes and your record keeping. Hey guys, Sarah here from Work Life Glue, where we talk about work and life and how we glue all those pieces together. So we talk about things from daycare, because I'm a daycare provider, to cooking, to mommy, daddy related things, organizing, all those things that keep our life running smoothly, time management, and goal crushing as well. So if you like any of those topics, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video so I know you guys like these kind of videos. So a couple years ago, I did a video all about record keeping. It's been really popular around tax season, so I know that this is something people, especially small business owners and daycare providers, like the idea of, but are we actually implementing it? So today, I just thought I would inspire you guys and share my system that I was doing 2 years ago and need to get back into. I was pregnant last year, so I kind of gave myself some leeway, but I really paid for it this year at tax season when I had to go through all my receipts for the whole year, which who wants to do that? So I have this really nifty little tracker. I will put a link to an editable version of it in the description box if you guys want to download, but it's very simple to make. I don't even have Microsoft Word. We just use OpenOffice, which I will also leave a link to if you guys want a free version of something like Microsoft Word, if you don't want to pay for that. So basically it's just 8 columns, one with like the task, and then one for every month of the year. Get it so you guys can read it. So basically every month, 1 day a month during nap time is when I tend to do this, but you can do it anytime, maybe at night, maybe on a day off. Maybe you're going to take 1 day off every month, unpaid, paid, to do record keeping and, you know, plan your curriculum. I've known providers who do that. I think it's an awesome idea. If I didn't have kids of my own with me all the time, I'd probably do that, but we tend to just use my days off to spend as a family. But there's just some ideas for when you could do this. But the goal is to do this every single month, so by the time tax season rolls around, you already have everything done for the most part. It's stress-free. You just get it all ready for your accountant, your tax preparer, you send it over, and you're good. So let's just kind of go through things I do, but you can obviously add different things to your list to fit your needs. So the very first thing on here, you see that? It's enter your receipts. I don't know about you guys, but I am a Target girl. I'm always shopping at Target and I have tons of receipts. So it is important to go through your receipts. Try to do it every month so you don't have it looming over you at the start of the new year. Who wants to start the new year with all of these receipts? Some of which you can't even read anymore because the text is off. Some of which you don't even remember what you bought. So if you go through monthly, you can remember, okay, yeah, that was 100% deductible. That was my time space deduction, that kind of thing. If you don't know what that is, I will link below to a Tom Copeland article. I'm sure there's one out there of what the difference is between 100% tax deductible and then time space. If you're a daycare provider, you really need to nail these down because this is how you can take advantage of the most write-offs possible. If you are just a regular small business owner, this may not apply, but talk to your tax preparer to know, because obviously we want to write off as much as legally possible so that we can keep as much money as possible and not send it over to the wonderful government. Moving on. Another thing I do is grocery store mileage. So you can use apps and things like that to track your mileage, but often my husband is the one driving. So what I do for my mileage is just keep track of the receipts for groceries. I use a standard meal rate deduction, which I'll also link below what that means. So I don't use my receipts and write off food. I just take all the meals I serve throughout the year, multiply that by the standard meal allowance rate, and then that's what I deduct for food. But it's important to deduct mileage. That can really add up over time. So if you're going to the grocery store, or your spouse is going to the grocery store and buying things mostly for daycare, you can write off that mileage. So I keep the receipt, I write mileage on it, and then I just make sure I know how many miles, you can even use Google Maps, it takes to get to that store, or if they go from store to store, just find the mileage between the stores, add it up, multiply it by the mileage rate for that year, and that's what you can write off. So that's what I do every month. Look through emails for receipts. I buy a lot of stuff online. I go through every month, look through my emails, and deduct anything, print out any receipts I need to for anything I bought online. Like if I bought Caterpillars, if I bought, you know, some toys or something, I will make sure to print out the receipt. However, I do not do Amazon until the end of the year because it's way easier to just print out or look through your order history at the end of the year if you buy a lot from one store like I do from Amazon. So that's another little quick tip for you guys. Another thing, file the receipts. So I do what's called Freedom Filer. I'll also link to that below. But it's a really great filing system. So after I've entered my receipts, I will file them in the month that goes, you know, with the month that I'm working on, and then that way I have it all ready to go. And then file other items. I don't know about you guys, but my house is overrun with paper, so I have a little organizer next to our computer with things to file, and I am not good about actually going through and filing those, so it looks just like out of control, like junky paper everywhere. So every month I'm going to stay on top of moving all the to file papers into the corresponding files. And when you're doing all this at once, it's less daunting than like, oh my gosh, now I gotta go file things. Because I don't know about you guys, but I hate this kind of thing. I am a creative person. I am not a numbers, like enter stuff in the computer kind of person. So I hate this, but doing it all one day knocks it out, and then I don't have to worry about it at the start of the year, having it all looming over me. Another thing I wrote on here is just to clean out my desk. Obviously that's not like a record keeping thing, but I just put anything on here that like I want to stay on top of that I kind of don't like doing that gets out of control. So clean out my desk, and it's easy because that's where I'm doing all this stuff anyway. Also mileage for trainings. If you are a daycare provider, you most likely are going to trainings, or if you are, you know, in a business where you are doing continuing education, make sure you're tracking your miles to any of those places. So I, just like I said before, I don't use an app or anything for this. I just go back through the month, see what trainings I went to, look up the mileage to that on Google Maps, and then I write off that mileage. Really easy. And then add budgeted amounts to spreadsheets. So this is something new I'm doing this year. I made a spreadsheet for all the monthly expenses that happen every month that I can write off, like, or at least write off a portion of, like electricity, gas, water bill, cell phone bills, trash company collection, my monthly music classes I have with the kids, any subscriptions like Spotify, if you listen to Spotify, Netflix, all those. I keep track of those on one spreadsheet, and so I just look back at the month. I have a really detailed budget, so I just go onto my budget, see what I paid for that month, plug it into my overall yearly spreadsheet, and then at the end of the year I have it all programmed to, for like garbage, that would be my time space percentage, but my music classes would be my 100% tax write-off. So I have it figured out to calculate exactly how much to calculate, you know, it takes all of the music classes for the year, multiplies that by 100%, and then adds it to my 100% category, and then all of my time space items are added up, multiplied, and then added into one area. So at the end of the year I can just take those numbers, plug it into my Schedule C, and it's all right there. I don't have to go through and figure that out. It's really easy that way. If you guys would like a whole detailed video on that, make sure you let me know in the comments. I'm realizing now that there's like so many additional things I could be talking about, but I'm supposed to be just talking about this. So if you want to know more about that spreadsheet, let me know and I can do a whole video on that. Upside down. And then update my meal counts. I have a really great friend, Jenny, if you're watching, hi, who made a spreadsheet for her meal counts. Because I'm not on the food program anymore, it's important that I'm keeping track of how many kids are here for each meal. And then, like I said, I just multiply that by the standard meal allowance rate. So every month I just want to go through, I keep track of it in my planner, how many kids were here each day for each meal. And then at the end of the week I add that up. So every month now I want to go in and add that to that meal count spreadsheet, and then at the end of the year it multiplies it all for me, so I don't have to go in and do it. Do you see how if you do this monthly, it's all done for you and it's wonderful. Another thing I do is save for taxes. So one of my line items on our budget is how much I pay for taxes. So every quarter I can pay them in, so I just want to make sure I actually am saving for that every month, so when, you know, April roll around, I'm not like, oh my gosh, where's my money for my quarterly taxes? So I have that on here. Another one, clear out file sorter by computer. So I talked about that. So I have things that are in progress. I have daycare papers, I have YouTube papers, so I want to just go through that every month and make sure the only things are in there are things I actually need to reference. Also, monthly, I need to do crib checks and log my fire and storm drills. That's for licensing. So if you have any like licensing or things you have to do for your business or your daycare that you need to do monthly, just add it onto here and do it that day. So I need to go around and check all my cribs. We have a whole checklist we have to go through, as well as my fire and storm drill logs. I just write that in my planner when I did those and how long it took and all that kind of thing. So now I just have to add it to my log, so I have that on here. And then log non-daycare hours for the month. So I need to get better about keeping track of those. Tom Copeland recommends that you keep track of at least 2 months worth of non-daycare hours that you're working on daycare stuff. So if you're cleaning, planning, cooking, all those kind of things, if it's related to daycare and it's during non-daycare hours, so for example, I work daycare 7 to 5, so if it's outside of those hours and I'm doing something related to daycare, I need to be keeping track of those hours at least 2 months of the year to add and make use of my time space percentage. So I need to start doing that, so I also wrote that on here. So those are all the monthly things I will be doing, but you guys can obviously add more, and if you think of any others that you want to add for yourself, just write about it in the comments so we can give each other ideas, because the more the merrier, right? And then at the end of the year, I have a end of the year little checklist with some extras just in case I think of other things. So I have my Amazon end of year report on here. So I will go through at the end of the year and see what I bought on Amazon for daycare or related to daycare that I can write off at least a portion of. I'll go through and add all that up, and then add that to my Schedule C as well. And then if I think of anything else, I'll write it in here. So guys, that is a very quick how I do our monthly record keeping in a nutshell. If there was anything in here you want me to speak more about, make sure you let me know. I hope this made sense. I encourage you guys to stay on top of this some way or another. And like I said, I will link to this little file below so you can make your own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like more behind the scenes businessy record keeping type of videos related to small business and daycare, make sure you let me know and give this video a thumbs up. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.